Hello everyone, welcome back to Kirklees Guitar School. In today's lesson I'm going to show you how to play Chasing Cars by Snow Patrol. So this lesson's been advertised as a beginner's lesson, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a slightly easier way to play it all, which is going to serve as the first portion of this lesson. In the second portion I'm going to take you through what they're actually playing on the record, so those of you that feel up to the challenge are able to do so. There's a free PDF that you can download from the first link in the description. That'll take you to my website. And what you'll find this lesson listed on the website with a button underneath it that says download PDF. I don't want anything from you. You don't need to sign up for anything. You don't have to do anything. You just go on the website and click download PDF. On that PDF, you'll find the beginner's version listed first on the first couple of pages, followed by some chords that go with that lesson, and then the advanced tabs that's clearly labelled at the top. I'll show you that in the lesson. So I'll talk about tones and stuff in a second because he's doing some quite specific stuff. Let's just get right into the meat and potatoes today. So you'll see at the top of the beginner's version at the intro, you'll see it says beginner version. In the advanced version, when we get to it, I'll show you that as well, just so you know what we're going off. Now this song has essentially got two parts. It's got it's got that part and then a chordy bit. We're going to tackle the picking part and the power chords for the beginner version, and then I'm going to show you some variations, and we'll start using some pedals for the advanced version. So what we're going to start with, the second fret on the G string. That's an A note. We're going to pick that with a downstroke, followed by an upstroke on the high E string. This is played in quavers, going down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. We'd count this 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and. Now what I tend to do when I'm practicing this, because we're going to show you some variations in a second as it moves through the verse, but what I'd like you to think of is each note that's fretted is the 1, the 2, the 3 and the 4 of the bar. Beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, beat 4, and they're all done with a downstroke. So rather than counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I'm counting to 8 because this pattern stays the same for 2 bars and then it'll change. So if you have a look here, this top line up here is what we've just played, and then underneath we're going to the first fret. So we're going to take that second fret of the G, we're going to take that and just move that down to the first fret. Now, I'd like it if you played that too with your second finger and then went to the first finger for the first fret, but if you can just manage it with one finger right now as a beginner, that's completely cool. We'll sort that out later on. So I'm going to play 2 bars of each. 5, 6, 7, 8, and change. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Moving on into the next section. Now bear with me because I've got to show you all the component parts and then I'm going to show you one slide where I glue it all together. Following going around from that first fret, I'm then going to pick the open D string. So I'm moving from the G with the down pick up to the open D string. So I don't actually need to press anything over here. For 2 bars. And then we go back to where we came. And I'm still retaining that down and up. Now, what's really important, let me show you this slide here. That's the entire verse, and this is the whole kind of A section. Whenever he's singing the verse, and in any of the kind of instrumental sections that's not the chorus, this is what we're going to play. So you can see at the top 2 lines, we've got the second fret and the open string where we started from. You're going to do that for 2 bars. Then go to the first fret, and we're going to do that for 2 bars. 5, 6, 7, 8 to the open D string. We're doing that string skip. 5, 6, 7, 8, and then second fret again. 5, 6, 7, 8. Now can you see down here, where I'm wiggling my fingers, this funny looking thing here, this funny looking bracket is what we call a repeat marker. And I don't know if you notice, up here, we've got one up here as well. Those are called repeat markers. And whenever you see them in music, it basically means I want you to repeat that section twice. Now, sometimes you've got to repeat a section more than twice. It'll be clearly indicated times 3, times 4, times 7 if it's any more than 2. You always assume it's 2 unless you hear otherwise. Now, can you see how we start and finish this phrase with the same 2 notes, don't we? Have a look at that. Can you see how you got 2s and 0s on the top, 2s and 0s on the bottom? Now, this catches a lot of people out with this song, where they'll prematurely go down to that first fret. And if we're in the if you'd come to see me for a lesson, I would say stay where you are, keep going on that second fret, because it's quite easy to kind of go, oh, I've been playing this for ages. Surely that first fret should be there now. Just make sure you're counting the beats of the bar, and it'll help you to it. So that's the verse. Let me show you up close what that looks like. Then we go to the first fret. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and the open string. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then the second fret again. And remember to stick on it. 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we go around again for the verses. So you see at the beginning of the song, the intro plays that very first bit twice, and then we go into a verse, and we're going to play that whole 8-bar section twice. Pause the video and get that under your fingers for me. This is the first of 2 parts to the song. We've only got 2 parts to learn for the whole song. If you're feeling reasonably confident, we can move on to his next section now. Now, his next section could be played a couple of different ways, and if you stick around for the advanced version, you'll see a couple of different ideas that I've got around that. Now, what I'd like to talk about is I'd like to talk about power chords. Power chords are often thought of for rock music, which is, you know, they sound pretty cool, but they're also an excellent way to teach a student who can play a couple of open, what I call cowboy chords at the bottom of the neck, give them an opportunity to start kind of veering off into bar chord territory, but not starting on full fat bar chords yet. And this is kind of why I put this in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at these. Now, for the chorus section, the chorus is an 8-bar phrase just as the verse is, but we're going to play it entirely out of power chords. It looks like... Where are we? It looks like that. That's the finished product. Now, don't panic, don't run away. We're going to pick it all apart. But essentially, we're going to learn one shape that's called a movable shape that we can move around the fretboard to yield some pretty cool results. So let's go back to here. This is the chorus. This is at the bottom of page 1, right? I'd like you to set your index finger, your pointing finger. I'd like you to press the 5th fret of the low E string. I'd then like you to take either your ring finger, or if that's a bit of a stretch, your pinky, and I'd like you to play the 7th fret on the string below. 5 on the E, 7 on the A. So when you've got 2 notes in tab stood on top of each other, it means that they're played at the same time. So what I'd like you to do with your plectrum, I'd like you to strike the strings so much so with enough gusto where you're actually catching both the E and the A strings. Now what I don't want you to strum through all the strings, because that's not what they're doing on the record. Just those 2 dudes like that. Now, we're going to follow the same pattern. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8. But what's different compared to... And this part, we're just going to exclusively do downstrokes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8. Pause the video and get that under your fingers for me, please. If you're reasonably confident with that, there's a chord sheet attached to the PDF for this, by the way, so make sure you go and grab that. We're going to move that around. We're going to take the same idea. Instead of playing on the 5th fret, we're going to go down to the A string, and we're going to play fret 7 and fret number 9. And we're going to do exactly the same idea, but we're strumming the A and the D strings instead. Being very, very cautious of this low E string. We only want to hit the A and the D strings. And we then move that down to fret 5 and fret 7, but we're still on the A string, mind, so this is a D chord. It looks very similar to where we've come from, but it's not. 5 on the A, 7 on the D, and we're going to do the same. And then if I go to my final slide for the beginners section, can you see all the way down here, it goes back to the A. So we do A5 for 2 bars, E5 for 2 bars, D5 for 2 bars, A5 for 2 bars. Keep your eye up here, I'll play the whole thing for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. A, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, and E, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, D, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and A, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And just as before, up here, we've got the open bracket repeat marker. Down here, we've got the close repeat marker. Let me play that up close. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8 to E, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8 to D, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, and back to A. For this whole thing as the beginner's version, you should have your guitar set to a clean tone. I'm using a Stratocaster on the neck pickup, but to be honest, whatever you've got, even if you're on acoustic guitar, it'll sound just fine. Your main focus is getting those dudes pressed down in the right place at the right time. Now, what you'll see on the PDF, for the beginner's version, you'll see the chords attached to it immediately after this, but it's a 5-page PDF, and that's just because of the structure of the song has made me do it that way. Essentially, for all the quiet parts, you're going to be playing the picked. And for all the loud parts, you're going to be playing those power chords. And you're maintaining 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and you're maintaining quavers throughout for me, okay? So what I'd advise, if you feel like you've got enough on your plate there, pause the video here, spend a couple of weeks just practicing that where it is before moving on to the next section, because we're going to have a look at the advanced version now. So now moving on to the advanced section, you'll see in the PDF, I think it's probably going to be on the 6th or the 7th page. There's quite a lot in it. You'll see at the top near the intro, down here, on the top right-hand corner of the transcription, you'll see advanced version. Now, what I'm going to give you here is what I'm going to give you is on the record. It's essentially 2 parts with a slight variation on the chords that we're going to talk about, and just a couple of other extra little bits that just add that extra kind of 10-15% on, that make it sound a little bit more interesting. There's quite an interesting stretch as well, which we'll get into. So I think, first of all, the big kind of difference between the two, instead of doing this, the way that we've gone at it so far, we're going to actually change this. Sorry, I just need to make sure my microphone was changing. We're going to go from instead of down here, we're going to come all the way up here to fret 7 and fret 9 of the D and the G string. Can you hear how those notes kind of sound the same? But this sounds more like the record, and that's because that's what they're doing on the record. So I've got the 7th fret of the D string with a downstroke and the 9th fret of the G string, and I'm going down, up, down, up. Now I'm using index and pinky because we're going to sort of stretch this way while retaining this 9th fret. So I would advise that from the very offset you start using your pinky on this because it'll help you with the stretch later on. So we're going to do that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pause the video and have a go at that for me, please. If you're feeling fairly confident, we're going to add the next bit in. So the top bit, just as before, is what we've done. The bit underneath is we're essentially going to take that shape and we're going to take his index finger, instead of pressing fret number 7, we're just going to drop it a fret down to fret number 6, and now we've got a 2 fret gap. And we're going to do the same there for 2 bars. Fret 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pause the video and get that under your fingers and try that. Following that, while keeping his 9th fret in the same place, we're gonna keep that 9 up there. We're coming from fret 6. I'd like you to go here now. Now this is the stretch that I was talking about. I want you to take your index finger and I want you to all the way over to the 5th fret of the A string. Now, I appreciate that's hurting my hand, but that's what they're doing on the record, okay? And we want to try and be as sort of authentic as possible. If you're trying to stretch for that 5th fret of the A string and it's just not happening, substitute it for the open D. There's not that much in it, but if we're going to do it, we're going to do it properly, okay? Following that, we go back to the 7th fret where we once started like we did with the original melody. All together, that's what that looks like. Let me play you the whole thing. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 5th fret. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and back to fret 7. That's repeated twice just like it normally is. Let me play it you close up. Starting on right fret would be a good idea. 5, 6, 7, 8, and down. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then back to the beginning. All of the verses in the prior version that you've looked at look like that now. That's how they're playing it on the record, okay? I appreciate I've got some like reverbs and stuff going on. Stick around or use the chapters feature. We'll talk about tones and how I'm getting that sound in a second. But I want you to think of that stretch. You might not be able to do it initially, but just keep showing up and it will happen, I promise you. I couldn't stretch. All I ever wanted when I was learning to play guitar was to play Smells Like Teen Spirit. And that stretch between the 1st and the 3rd fret for that first power chord was the most difficult thing in all my life. And I just kept showing up and kept trying. And over the weeks, my hands gradually kind of learnt to stretch it out. Stick with it, it will come. So then moving on into the next sections then, we've got the chorus. Now, I'd like you to approach the chorus 2 ways. Now, I'd like you to actually, it might seem like you're taking a step back playing it this way, but this is the way that I feel like they're doing it on the record. For the choruses, for the first, like, let's say 3 choruses, it's indicated on the PDF. We're going to actually, where's the full thing? There we go. We're going to sort of borrow the power chord idea, but we're going to play it with cowboy chords. So we're going to do 2 bars of A, 2 bars of E, 2 bars of D, 2 bars of A, like we have done, but we're going to use the old-fashioned We're going to use these old-fashioned sort of cowboy chords at the bottom of the neck. But what I'd like to do to make it a little bit more interesting, you see these funny-looking arrows at the top? These are called accents. Now, what that means is every downbeat of the bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, every downbeat, 1, 2, 3 and 4, I want you to hit just that little bit harder than the rest of the chord. Now, I'm not saying disproportionately harder, but what I want to do is I want to create a little bit of texture in the strumming pattern. If I strum all of the chords the same, it doesn't sound bad, but it doesn't sound amazing. Whereas if I go, it just kind of has that little bit of something about it. So how am I achieving that? Let's have a look over here. I'm fretting an A chord. There's a chord diagram for this in the PDF if you need it. So for the accent, I'm strumming the full chord. And you see how I'm sort of flicking my wrist a little bit? I'm not afraid of giving it a good smack, right? Then for the without the accent, I'm still strumming the chord, but I'm sort of predominantly kind of aiming for the bottom 3 or 4 strings of the chord, which is the A, the D and the G, potentially the B in this case. So I've got like a big stroke and then a lesser stroke. Practice that on the A chord for me. And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to take the rest of the chords in this progression. The PDF will really help you with this. I can't squeeze it all in. But I'd like you to move through that whole E chord, 5, 6, 7, 8, D. So what it looks like close up. 5, 6, 7, 8, E to D. So you'll have to check the PDF. You'll have to check the PDF for so we're 100% crystal clear on exactly what we're going for there. But I would say, with reasonable certainty, it's the first 3 choruses you're going to play with the chords like that. So you're either going or you go in. Underneath it all, the whole harmony is the same all the way through. It's just what you're choosing to do. Then towards the back end of the song, we start getting a little bit rockier, don't we? So we've come from that. And then you'll see there's a chorus and the chords change, and I say, with overdrive. This is exactly what we spoke about in the beginner's version. However, I've added an accent to the first, second, third and fourth beats of every bar. And if you've got the means to do it, I'd like you to put a pedal on the floor and play some overdrive. So instead of going, well, let's talk about the accents first. You see how we've still got that same rhythm? But I'm hitting the downbeats a lot harder. Now I've got a pedal here. You know, it's got some cojones now. To E. Down to D. And then back up to A. Now, there's an extra guitar on the record that's putting that on, which obviously, that's why I've put it in. But if I was playing this at a gig, that's how I'd play the last chorus, and I'd really be digging into my guitar. That's what it looks like, the whole section. Pause that and get that under your fingers for me, please. So you there, for the advanced version, quote-unquote advanced version, you've 3 parts, essentially, instead of 2. You've got that bit. You've got that bit for the chorus, for the more chilled out choruses, and then you've got the overdrive for the ending. Now, for the record, I listened to the record really closely when I was transcribing this, and there's not too much information online as to what the band were using, but looking at live clips and my ears, listening to the record, here's my best guess. So I think he's using some sort of Telecaster with a humbucker to get that sound. I've pretty much had every guitar out this morning, and as long as it's the neck pickup on some kind of guitar, I've played it on Gibsons today, I've played it on Fenders, I've played it on the Jazzmaster with their sort of weird pickups. They all kind of sounded the same. So I settled on this one today. I've had this guitar for a long time, and I just fancy playing it today. So I'd use the neck pickup on an electric guitar if possible. If you're on acoustic, just make it work. You'll be fine. I use a quad cortex to get all my sounds, which is basically a digital recreation of lots of different kinds of amplifiers. So I'm using a Fender Twin profile with a lot of reverb, and it gives you that. I think it's what's called a plate reverb, and it just gives you this. Can you hear it? It sort of trails off. Well, when those notes are bleeding into each other, you hear how it trails off. It's got this lovely sound. If you are on the Boss Katanas, I'd use the clean sound with a fairly kind of bass, middle, and treble at 12 o'clock. And the reverb setting, if you're on the Mark IIIs, press the variation button until the LED goes red. I think the red one's the plate reverb, and turn it to 12 o'clock or even 3 o'clock if you really want it drowning in it. Regardless of what amplifier you've got, plenty of reverb should suffice. I've got a Marshall Governor pedal on the floor, which takes and makes it. You want overdrive as opposed to distortion, and that's really extracurricular, is that. You want the kind of overdrive that gets angrier the harder you hit it. You know, if I tickle that, it doesn't sound too distorted, but if I go, you hear how it starts to bark a little bit. So that's how I'd play that. I hope you enjoyed that multi-skilled lesson. Let me know if you'd like to see some more kind of beginner-friendly lessons in the comments. If you've got any suggestions for songs that I'd like to look at, let me know in the comments. I'll see you next week for another electric guitar lesson. Thank you so much.